Famous influencer Gabby Petito has been missing for almost 3 weeks. Over the past few years, she has posted her countrywide travels to Instagram and TikTok. Her fiance Brian Laundrie was with her at the time of her travels, but only spoke to the public through his lawyer. So as I mentioned, 22-year-old influencer Gabby Petito was reported missing by her mother 3 weeks ago after she embarked on a countrywide road trip with her fiance, but did not return home with him. According to New Day, the couple started their journey on July 2nd in a 2012 Ford Transit van in Blue Point, New York. However, sometime in the past week, Brian returned to their shared home in North Point, Florida without her. So far, we know that the van has been seized by Northport police. Petito's family said in a statement through their attorney Richard Stafford, Brian is refusing to tell Gabby's family where he last saw her. Brian is also refusing to explain why he left Gabby all alone and drove her van to Florida, adding, "These are critical questions that require immediate answers." According to the Suffolk County Police Department, Gabby's mother, Nicole Schmidt, reported that her daughter was missing on Saturday morning after she stopped sending or responding to messages, adding that her last known location was Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park. What's wild is that Brian has not spoken about what happened at all. He only had a lawyer who represents his family tell ABC 7 News, "On the advice of counsel, the Laundrie family is remaining in the background at this juncture and will have no further comment," which is a pretty wild statement coming from the only person that could possibly know her whereabouts. Gabby had been tracking her travels during their road trip on her Instagram account as well as her TikTok called Nomadic Static. Despite sharing a home with Brian in Florida, Gabby grew up in Blue Point but got the travel bug in her high school years. In March of 2019, her and Laundrie began dating and traveling together according to posts on her Instagram page. According to the Daily Mail, Petito and Laundrie moved in together 2 years ago into their home in Northport, Florida. By July of 2020, Gabby had posted that Brian had proposed to her alongside a picture of their first date, writing in the caption, "Here's a picture from our first date because I have so much love for you. Brian asked me to marry him and I said yes. You make my life feel unreal and every day is such a dream with you." Gabby's parents told KSL News that the couple had left Salt Lake City to Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming on August 24th. The family also said in their statement that they begged the Laundrie family to not remain in the background but to help find who Brian referred to as the love of his life, adding, "How does Brian stay in the background when he's the one person that knows where Gabby is located? The Schmidt and Petito family implore Brian to come forward and at least tell us if we are looking in the right area. The Schmidt and Petito family are going through the worst moments of their lives. Their beautiful 22-year-old daughter is missing and the one person that can help find Gabby refuses to help."
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call.
Police in Moab, Utah have just released the body cam footage of a crucial point in time for this missing persons case. The footage of Gabby and Brian was taken on August 12th, and it involves what police described as officers dealing with the couple after a fight. No arrests were made at the time, but this was about a month before Gabby was reported missing. In response to a concerned witness who called the police, the officers in Utah pulled over the couple after someone said they had witnessed them fighting. The video released today was recorded approximately 4 weeks prior to when she was reported missing. Gabby was reported missing on September 11th, 10 days after her boyfriend returned from the trip without her. Brian has since refused to assist the police in their search and thus has been named a person of interest in her disappearance. Relatives of Gabby have increasingly grown frustrated with Brian and criticized his lack of action while repeatedly telling him to come forward with what he knows. Yesterday, the Moab police released a report from this August 12th altercation, and the officers at the time concluded that the incident was a mental health crisis rather than an actual crime, so no arrests were made. Before stopping them, the officer noted that the van swerved towards the curb before coming to a complete stop. As the officer approached the passenger side window, you can see that Gabby is visibly upset, while Brian on the other hand remained affable and cooperative. At times the audio in the footage drops out, but when the officer asked them to get out of the van, you can hear Petito telling them that she was apologizing to Brian for being mean, referencing a fight that they had earlier. She told the police officer, "Some days I have really bad OCD and I was just cleaning the back of the van before and I was apologizing to him saying I'm sorry I'm so mean because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I guess my vibe. I'm just in a bad mood." Gabby also described hitting Laundrie, which is what resulted in the bystander to call the police. She said again on tape that she had hit him while they were driving to alert him that the police were trying to pull them over. During the questioning by police, Brian said that he was not hurt, but there did appear to be scratch marks on his arm, neck, and face. In the police report, they also noted that Petito didn't want to be separated from Brian and began slapping him, which then led to Brian grabbing her face, again according to the police report. Gabby also said in the police body cam footage that the pair had been fighting all morning and that Brian would not let her in the car as he told her that she needed to calm down. Apparently he had brought dirt into the van from his flip-flops, which he says got Gabby all worked up. According to the boyfriend, he then suggested that they go for their own walks to calm down and get some space, which then started an altercation where Gabby tried to run and grab the keys for the van. Initially the police were going to charge Gabby with domestic violence but opted to not because she told the officers that she had no intent of actually hurting Brian. Additionally, Laundrie said that he did not want to press charges. The police report said that the stop ended with the couple agreeing to separate for the night. Police put Laundrie in a hotel room for the night and allow Petito to stay in the van.
I am separating the two of you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other. Relax, breathe.
Police video that shows Gabby Petito and her fiance arguing before her disappearance is the biggest piece of evidence that we currently have as to what happened to Gabby. Petito was reported missing on September 11th, and this case just keeps taking more and more insane turns. Police now are actively looking into a possible link between Gabby's disappearance and a double homicide that happened at a campground outside of Moab.
What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
In the police body cam footage that was released yesterday, Gabby and her boyfriend had gotten physical with each other near a Utah National Park, telling the police that the tension between them had been building over the last few days. Petito also told the cops that she feared her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, would leave her behind without a ride. According to the police report, they had initially considered domestic violence charges against Petito, who said that she was struggling with her mental health and allegedly scratched Brian. But ultimately, they deemed the situation to not be a criminal case and told the fighting couple to spend the night apart. The report obtained by the New York Post says, both the male and the female reported that they are in love and engaged to be married and desperately didn't wish to see anyone charged with a crime. There were no significant injuries reported, and both agreed that Gabby suffers from serious anxiety. The pair had been traveling together for 4 or 5 months and said that the emotional strain between them had resulted in an increased number of arguments. The police were responding to a report of a domestic disturbance around 4:30 p.m. near the Moonflower Community Cooperative in Moab and would later pull over their 2012 Ford Transit van. Police officer Daniel Scott Robbins writes in his report, "I approached the vehicle and saw the only occupants being Gabrielle and Brian. Gabrielle, who was in the passenger seat, was crying uncontrollably." He continues by saying, "At no point in my investigation did Gabrielle stop crying, breathing heavily, or compose a sentence without needing to wipe away tears, wipe her nose, or rub her knees with her hands." Both Petito and Laundrie told the cops that they each suffered from an undisclosed disorder, with Brian adding that neither of them were taking any medication. What's disturbing to now know, though, is that authorities believe there may be a connection between Gabby's disappearance and the shooting of a newlywed couple at a campground outside of Moab. The sheriff's office said in a statement to Fox News, "The Grand County Sheriff's Office has been in contact with Florida authorities, and we are actively looking into any connection between the Gabby Petito missing person case and the double homicide that occurred in Grand County. One of the victims in that case, Kylan Schultz, worked at a community cooperative where a witness saw a domestic dispute between Gabby and her boyfriend Brian on August 12th. Kylan and his wife Crystal Turner went missing after going to a Moab bar on August 12th, where they complained to friends about a creepy guy close to where they were camping. According to recently unsealed documents obtained by the Salt Lake City Tribune, the couple even told their friends that if something happened to them, that they were killed. On August 18th, the newlyweds were found partially undressed with gunshot wounds in their back, sides, and chest. Petito was seen weeks later in Wyoming, hundreds of miles away from Moab, but was reported missing on September 11th by her mother, who had not had any contact with her daughter since August 30th. Laundrie then returned in the van alone to the home they shared together in Florida. His lack of cooperation with police has outraged and devastated the Petito family. Attorney Richard Stafford said Thursday, "They're at the point that the desperation has turned to anger. They know that the Laundries know where their daughter is and they will not tell them. That's infuriating." Northport Police Chief Todd Garrison also said at a press conference on Thursday, "Right now this is a missing person case, alright? And our focus is to find Gabby. My focus isn't to bring Brian in right now, it's to find Gabby," adding, "Brian is exercising his constitutional right and I have to respect that." Police did note that Brian's lawyer provided some requested property, and investigators will be analyzing evidence from Petito's van that was seized last week. Additionally, the FBI will also be joining the investigation in this case. Human remains have been discovered in Teton County, Wyoming, and according to the FBI, they are consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. Gabby was reported missing by her mother on September 11th, and now her boyfriend and #1 suspect in this case is missing as well. Charles Jones, FBI's Denver Supervisory Senior Resident Agent in Wyoming, said in a statement today, "Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery," later adding that the cause of death has not been determined yet. Over the weekend, authorities conducted a search around Spread Creek Dispersed camping area in Grand Teton National Forest on the eastern edge of Grand Teton National Park for any clues that would lead them to Gabby. At the very same time, though, authorities in Florida are also trying to track down Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie. According to Brian's family, they have not seen him since last Tuesday, which then prompted the search of a local nature reserve that led to finding nothing. Prior to Gabby going missing, the couple had been traveling on a road trip through several western states, with Laundrie returning to their home in Northport, Florida without Gabby on September 1st. According to officials, Brian is still not wanted for a crime, but him going into hiding like this and refusing to speak with anyone anyone other than through his lawyer is extremely suspicious. Like I said earlier, this weekend dozens of officers and FBI agents were searching an area that stretches out to roughly 25,000 acres in search of any signs really of Gabby. The home of Laundrie's family was searched on Friday evening after Brian's family told the police that they had not seen him for days, with their family attorney saying that his whereabouts were currently unknown. However, Richard Stafford, an attorney for the Petito family, said in a statement to CNN, "All of Gabby's family want the world to know that Brian is not missing, he is hiding. Gabby is missing." Right now, the FBI is continuing to ask for tips from the public and opened Sunday's news conference at Grand Teton National Park by giving their condolences to the Petito family. Detective Jones said, "As every parent can imagine, this is an incredibly difficult time for the family and friends. Our thoughts and prayers are with them." The campsite authorities also noted that the area will remain closed to the public, with Jones adding in a news release, "This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and the related activity for the safety of the public in these remote areas, to respect the privacy of Gabby's family, and to protect the integrity of our work." Now, as I mentioned, the FBI are still asking the public for tips from anyone who may have seen Petito, Laundrie, or their 2012 Ford Transit van with Florida plates and stickers on the back. Jones added, "We continue to seek information from anyone who utilized the Spread Creek Dispersed camping area between the dates of August 27th and August 30th. The search effort for Gabby included the use of drones and bloodhounds that used articles of Laundrie's clothing taken from his home to get his scent. Police also believe that the vehicle Laundrie was driving may have come to this reserve as well, but has since been returned to his family home. Right now, there is an enormous amount of pressure on Brian to provide answers as to what's going on. The latest disappearance of Brian has made the Northport police categorize this as a multiple missing persons investigation, saying on their Twitter page, "The search for Brian Laundrie continues Sunday morning in the Carlton Reserve. A team of more than 50 looking for anything of note after his parents say this is where he went. We continue to collaborate all info in the search for him and Gabby. 1-800-CALL-FBI. The Northport police spokesperson Josh Taylor also reported on their interactions with the Laundrie family and said, "You know, we've obviously been trying to reach the family to get answers in this case since last Saturday. The first time that we've had any in-depth conversation with them was Friday when their attorney called and said that the family was concerned about Brian's whereabouts." Teton County, Wyoming coroner Dr. Brent Blue told CNN an autopsy is scheduled for Tuesday, saying officials would confirm the identity of the remains through photographs, personal identification, or DNA. Either way, this report will bring a heartbreaking end to this search, and now the hunt for Brian Laundrie will be on.